Hey guys, welcome back to Louisville Live this morning. Karl Truman, the injury lawyer, is here with us. We're opening up the phone lines, the WVKI legal line, for you to call Karl with your questions. Tell them the number, Craig.
502-276-2118. 502-276-2118. Workers' comp, Social Security, disability. Maybe you've been involved in a car wreck, boat, you slipped somewhere. Karl is here. Don't be shy. Now's the time to call. How are you doing?
Good morning, Karl.
Good morning. Great to be back in this week.
Good to see you.
You know, one thing I wanted to ask you, we've had a rash of shootings across the country lately, and just one a couple days, 3 days ago in eastern Kentucky, where 6 people died, 5 were apparently murdered, and the gunman turned the gun on himself at the end. I guess he decided to end his own life. What happens when you try to file a lawsuit against him or that person when you have such loss of life and it's like this and you want to file a civil suit? How do you even start?
Well, that kind of ties into what I see a lot with even in automobile accidents where someone is very severely injured. And in those situations, I mean, there's not going to be any insurance coverage. So in that type, most of those situations, there's probably no assets to try to go collect after. But what I see in automobile accidents all too often is where, someone is severely injured and then the person that hurt them or hit them, say in an auto accident, maybe they either have no insurance coverage or minimum $25,000 policy limits, and my client has very severe medical bills. And so the question is, and the clients will say, well, can't we go after them personally? Can't we sue them personally? And the answer is yes, you can, but the problem is that you may get $1 million judgment and it's not worth the paper it's written on.
Yeah.
I mean, collecting is the issue. I mean, there are situations where I've done asset checks to try to find out other assets, but
taking your phone calls, 502-276-2118. I wondered what happened there, but we do have a phone call.
We do. Tracy in Fisherville is on the line. Hi, Tracy.
Hello. I have a question for you. I was severely electrocuted, and I've filed for disability. Are you there?
Yes.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
Okay. I filed for disability about a year ago, and I got denied twice. And I kind of let it go and set aside, got depressed about fighting them. Am I still able to fight them, or do I have to start all over from scratch?
What level, how far did you go with it?
I did the first paperwork, sent it into them, and then I went back to the office again after they gave me the first denial, and then did the paperwork again, and then they denied again.
Tracy, how did the injury happen?
Pardon?
How did the injury happen?
I was severely electrocuted in New York. I was washing metal pizza pans like a Thornton's, but it was a Lake County dairy, and the whole building got hit, was never grounded, and 220 went through my body to 440.
Oh, my.
Okay, thank you, Tracy.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, of course, and obviously I don't know about New York or when that incident happened, but certainly that would be something she should look at, is there some potential liability claim in that situation for the electrocution if there was improper grounding or, the wiring wasn't done right, so that's something to look at. But from a Social Security disability claim, and she didn't say when she got denied, but there's a 3-step process. When you make your initial application, and then if you get denied, then you have to file, we only have 60 days to file it. After you get denied, you have to file what's called a request for reconsideration, which sounds like what you did. And then if you get denied again, then you file what's called a request for hearing with an administrative law judge. That's when you actually go before a judge and testify, and evidence is presented and arguments are made to the judge. And again, you only have 60 days from when you get denied for the reconsideration to file for the request for hearing. So those time limits are really important. So if it's not been the 60 days yet since you've been denied, you definitely need to file the request for hearing with the judge.
Okay.
Tracy, we should tell you, Karl works with lawyers throughout the country, so if you believe you need to get a hold of a New York attorney, you may want to call Karl's office, tell him you talked to him on Louisville Live this morning, and see if he can push you in the right direction. But thank you for your call.
We have another caller coming in. Jesse in Georgetown, Indiana has a question for Karl. Hi, Jesse.
Hello.
Go ahead with your question.
What I want to know is this. If you had a case where you fell in a hospital because of a bed not being locked properly, would you have a lawsuit for that?
Well, I've actually had cases like that where the hospital was moving a patient, let's say from a stretcher. They moved the stretcher up to the room and the wheels aren't locked down, and then when they're trying to move the patient from the stretcher to the bed, it moved, and they dropped the patient on the floor, actually. So depending on I don't know enough about your facts, but certainly if the wheel moved and it caused you to fall, then definitely they're responsible for making sure that for your safety if you're being moved or you're trying to walk. I mean,
I sensed he may have been in bed and he may have gone to the restroom. I don't know. And then they were supposed to put the railing back up, and maybe it didn't lock. Maybe that didn't lock. What if that didn't lock and then Jesse fell out? Is that still?
Well, railings get into a whole nother issues as far as sometimes those are considered restraints, and so that gets into some other issues. But if it's not locked down or not secured properly, certainly they're supposed to be. That's their job, is to make sure the wheels are locked.
Jesse,
and the
you may
railings
want to
are
call the Carl's Law Office. You see the number right there, 1-800-ACCIDENT, or email them more particulars, and he might be able to help you out. But we appreciate your call, and we have more calls.
That's right. The WBKI legal line is open, and John in Louisville has a question for Karl. Hi, John.
Hello.
Go ahead with your question.
I was trying to find out if on the city council members, are they responsible for attending any type of schooling when they are elected?
Okay, I'm not sure if that's a legal question, but we appreciate you asking that. I think he's saying for qualifications for city council. I think there are set requirements on residents where you live, Karl, and I believe you have to be maybe of a certain age, but I'm not sure of the educational requirements. I think anybody can run, at least for city council.
Yeah, other than constitutional requirements for state or federal offices. I mean, most local positions, it's a fairly minimal requirement.
Yeah, you got to live in that area. One question I want to ask you: I've seen a lot lately, bed bugs. You're hearing a lot about bed bugs, even in upscale hotels. What do you do if you get bed bugs and you're out and about?
Well, I've actually had some bed bug claims, and fortunately, it's typically not a permanent injury. I mean, it is very uncomfortable and very unsightly. But yes, I did have one client that was on vacation, or actually it was a business trip in Orlando, and came back, and I mean, he was literally covered with bed bug bites. I mean, it was a very unpleasant situation for him. But yes, when you go to a hotel, even a nice hotel, I mean, pull up the mattress, look behind the headboard is where a lot of them hide out.
Oh, my goodness.
And just, it's very unpleasant to think about.
I read it online. Even nicer hotels are getting bed bugs, so it's ridiculous. I mean,
well, in Louisville, I think the study I read, Louisville was ranked like 13th in the nation on severity of bed bugs. Ohio, Indianapolis.
But if this does happen to you, then the hotel is liable for...
I mean, they're responsible for the safety of their guests.
Well, that's the reason Karl is here every Tuesday. He is the injury lawyer and answers all kinds of questions. And be sure to get a hold of him, 1-800-ACCIDENT, TrumanLaw.com.
In Kentucky and Indiana.
Great, thanks,
Karl.
We'll be back with more of Louisville Live this morning.